This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 500 of Horse Tip Daily. A different horse tip, a different equine topic, a different equestrian expert every day. Horse Tip Daily brings the world of equine knowledge to you one day at a time. Today's tip is brought to you by EquestrianCollections.com. Hi, Coach Jenn here, and thanks for tuning in to Horse Tip Daily. Today's tip is from me. Now, this is the part of the show where I usually introduce the expert of the day, but that seems a little awkward at this point. Let's suffice it to say that between my stint as a working student for international eventer Jane Sleeper and graduating with my HA rating in Pony Club, I know what clean really means. Today's tip is about bathing your horse. But first, a word about today's sponsor, EquestrianCollections.com. When you need to resupply, replace, update, or invest in the stuff that makes your horse life possible, stop by EquestrianCollections.com first. Browse through some 7,000 boot choices from great brands like Ariat, Boggs, Mountain Horse, Ovation, Smoky Mountain, and more. Outfit yourself in the latest and the greatest. And don't forget your horse. EquestrianCollections.com offers some 400 blankets, sheets, and coolers from Buckus, Amigo, and Rambo by Horseware, Hug, Kensington, Triple Crown Custom, and Weatherbeeta, just to name a few. Your horse will be warm and dry and stylish this winter. Not sure what type of saddle pad you want? Well, go to Equestrian Collections because they have over 600 different choices. No matter whether you ride English, Western, or bareback around the backyard, EquestrianCollections.com has the most amazing selection of brand name products you are going to find anywhere. So stop by today, EquestrianCollections.com. Now, enjoy today's tip. Folks, we cannot deny it. Labor Day has come and gone, and the cooler weather is on its way. My apologies to the folks in the southern hemisphere because the warmer weather is on the way. Well, welcome or not, the change in weather can cause some problems to pop up when it's bath time. So here are a few things I've learned that might help you out. First and foremost, let's remember why the horse is getting a bath to begin with. He needs to be clean when you are finished. The quantity, dollar value, or lavender scent of products you use are all for naught if he's not clean when you're done. So these tips are really going to address the more practical aspects of bath time at the barn. And let's keep in mind that this entire tip session was predicated by the fact that I had to give Beaker, my quarter horse that I ride for fun and giggles nowadays, a bath last week. And the weather is getting cooler. So first problem, really dirty horse with a heavy coat. Even though it's just August, their coats are starting to thicken up a little bit in preparation for winter. And it's hard to get the dirt out of there, especially if your horse lives out 24/7 like Beaker does. He was in great danger of having so much dirt across his back that if I sprinkled some hay chaff up there and turned him out in the rain, he would have likely sprouted some good fescue. So it was time for a scrubby bath. And it's hard to get out. So when you bathe your horse, especially if they have a heavy coat or if they're turned out 24/7 and develop a lot of dirt, scrub the soap into the horse's coat with your fingernails, a Sarvis Curry, which is those plastic ones that you can buy for 49 cents, or another curry comb with significant teeth. The groomers with the really big teeth work. The regular round black rubber curry that most folks have in their tack trunks is really not ideal. The teeth don't quite stick out far enough. And really get in there and put some elbow grease into it. If your arms are not tired when you're finished, your horse is probably not clean either. Another way to get that deep down crud out of there is to buy one of the dispensing devices commonly available at tack shops these days that have the soap in a container with a switch on and off that you hook to your hose, and then the hose puts the water and the soap on the horse both at the same time. I have used the Easy All Total Body Wash Green, and I've loved it. The Easy All company makes several different kinds, and the green was one that I liked a lot. It was much more effective than I anticipated, and the horse I was washing hadn't had a bath in about a year, and it really did a nice job, and an added benefit, it saved me some water. Or if you're like me and you're an incurable backyard engineer, get yourself some Dawn dish detergent. The plain old blue traditional flavor will work fine. And a spare empty squirt bottle. Fill the squirt bottle about 3/4 full with just plain water, and then fill it to the rest of the way with Dawn dish detergent. This will give you a pretty strong slurry of soap. Then you wet down your horse very thoroughly and immediately squirt the soap on the horse. And you have to make sure you do it when the horse is still very wet. And then just grab your curry comb or your fingernails and have at it scrubbing in a circular motion seems to work best. You need to make sure you get those hairs turned up. And you will find, especially with the Dawn, you're going to work up quite a set of suds. And those suds will actually turn brown. It's very satisfying. So the horse that's really, really dirty and has a very heavy coat, those are a couple of ways you can help to combat that on bath day. Another problem you have, especially as the weather cools off, you have limited water or a limited amount of time you can have the horse soaking wet. And one of the ways that you can combat that is to use one of the available low sudsing shampoos that are available, such as Sorno-More brand, and I'm sure there's others out there that I'm not familiar with, but they're designed specifically to have low suds so that there's not as much rinsing involved. Now, this means less suds or surfactants means it will not lift as much dirt, so there might be a little more scrubbing involved. So you're going to plan on a little extra elbow grease, but if you have limited water, that can be very, very useful. When you do rinse your horse using a hose, put the hose on as much pressure spray as you can. Either you have the little adjustable nozzle or you turn it up loud. As much spray as the horse will put up with. Some horses are more sensitive. And hold it very close to the skin. That way the water will get under the hair and rinse out the dirt. Remember, horse's hair is designed to keep water out. So you really need to be aggressive getting underneath those hairs and rinsing out both the dirt and the soap. And another way to do it with a little bit less water is, again, the Service Curry, the plastic one that you can buy for 49 cents at the tack store. They are also available with a attachment on the end of them, so you can put your garden hose right on them, and you can attach that right in there and then just stick that curry into their hide and go to town. Again, it will get the water deep down under the hair where it needs to be. And last but not least, one of the things that comes up a lot this time of year as it cools off and the coats get heavier, how to get the horse to dry off quickly or really quickly. One of your friends at the barn is the wet dry vac. A lot of us have them there to vacuum the horses in the winter when they're dry, but hello, it's a wet dry vac. You can use it to vacuum the water off your horse. Just make sure that it's an actual wet dry vac and it's made for that. Make sure all the settings are appropriate because some vacuums have different settings for wet or dry. And just vacuum the water right off your horse and pay special attention to the bottom because that's where the water wants to pool. And it's a great way to help your horse dry off faster. The folks in the cattle business have been doing this for years. It's about time we take advantage of technology. Another way to do it is good old-fashioned towels. Raid your aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, grandmas' towel rack. Everybody's got a stack of old towels they don't really want to use anymore. Keep a lot of them at the barn. To dry a horse off, you're going to need at least a half a dozen full-sized bath towels, but it will make them dry off much, much faster, especially those legs, and it helps keep the scurfiness to the minimum. And another thing you can do is when you put the cooler on your horse, let's say, example, it's really cold out, put a cotton anti-sweat sheet, what we used to call Irish knits, I don't know if folks still call them that, underneath of the cooler. It will absorb a lot of the moisture and help them dry off faster because it's basically a bath towel. Or if it's very cold out, a good way to keep that cooler up off of their skin and allow more evaporation to take place is take handfuls of clean straw or hay and set it across the horse's back and throw the cooler on top. That allows a little gap in airspace and allows the warm air coming off the horse to cool and pool on the outside of your cooler much better. Remember, the horse is cooling off or drying off by evaporation, and evaporation is a cooling process. So if the horse is warm and the air is cool, the moisture will stick to your cooler. And if you've got that little gap in the middle, it's much more effective. Also, by keeping him walking, he will stay warmer and dry faster than letting him stand still in a stall with nothing to do. So there you go. That's what I would recommend for bathing your horse in the autumn, or for that matter, all year round. Expect them to all be clean and shiny. And if you have other ideas on how to make your horse clean and shiny in inclement weather, less than ideal circumstances, or if you have an idea about horses who dance around the hose and are terrified of the water, feel free to stop by the Facebook page at Horse Tip Daily. Just search Horse Tip Daily on Facebook and drop me a little note or make a comment on one of the shows and say, hey, I got some ideas too, because we'd love to hear them. If you want to hear more of my tips, just head on over to horsetipdaily.com and go to the experts drop-down menu on the left. All of the experts are right there, alphabetized and easy to find. You can subscribe to all of the great shows on the Horse Radio Network through iTunes or Zune and get your horse podcasts automatically downloaded to your iPod, Zune, or MP3 player. I'll be back again tomorrow with another new expert and a different horse tip. Until then, go ride your horse! The Horse Radio Network and the Horse Radio Network hosts are not responsible for statements of guests or their opinions. Use your own judgment when listening to the tips provided by the experts on Horse Tip Daily.